Heads of state, ministers, deputy ministers, your excellencies and ambassadors, and all honored guests and distinguished guests, all protocol observed. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for having me. I accidentally just got caught on the other side of the room and sprinted around, so sorry if I sound like I'm out of breath. I had planned to have a green dress on today in honor of the African Green Revolution, but American Airlines had other plans for me. So I went and found a Rwandan designer, Millie Colleen, so I think I actually represent Africa better. So thank you. If we have any farmers in the audience, could you quickly stand? We must have some farmers in the audience. Thank you, Jeff. I want to thank you for all you do. We're here because of you. You are the front lines of agriculture, and on behalf of my grandfather, thank you for all you do. I'm honored to be here, and I would like to thank especially the Rockefeller Foundation, the Gates Foundation, and AGRA for this wonderful opportunity. I'm also grateful to the many organizations who have made it possible for me to personally become engaged in my grandfather's work here in Africa, in particular USAID, CIMMYT, Sasakawa African Association, the Gates Foundation, and AGRA. You have helped me fulfill my promise to my grandfather that I would continue to be a voice for his legacy and ensure Africa's revolution, green revolution. When my grandfather was told that he had 3 days left to live and the doctors could do no more to help him, he didn't speak for hours. And finally, my mother and I said, what can we do? What do you want to call your family, your sister? What can we do? And he looked at us with the saddest eyes I have ever seen. And he said, I have a problem. And I don't know what my mother thought he was going to say. I think she thought he was going to say, I'm sorry I haven't been here for the family, but I thank you and your mother for all that has been done. But he said, Africa. I've failed Africa, and I need 5 more years to make the commitment that I made that would bring a green revolution to Africa. He had a passion for Africa, and Africa was the last thing on his mind before he passed. I quickly told him he had trained and inspired thousands to continue in his legacy. And many of you in this room reached out to him in those final days and told him you would continue. You were his hunger fighters. And I believe that is why he was able to finally let go in peace. Each of you in this room represents the Borlaug legacy. And you represent the green revolution Africa so desperately deserves. So again, thank you on his behalf. My grandfather was many things, a warrior against hunger, a teacher, but first and foremost, a scientist. He often said the fear of change is the greatest obstacle to progress. He came down on the side of innovation and was known to be bold and quick to act. He was a fierce advocate for innovation and technological change, especially when it came to smallholder farmers. My grandfather's most potent view was that man's most advanced knowledge of science and technology should be used in the battle against hunger. Much like my grandfather's green revolution, we have a huge challenge in front of us: how to sustainably feed over 9 billion by 2050. And I don't need to go through the reasons why. We all know all of the challenges we face. But as we seize the moment and we celebrate AGRA's 10th anniversary, I know my grandfather is proud of Africa's transformation, and he would remind you all there's still more work to be done. But stay optimistic and never stop. A lot of you don't know that when my grandfather sent out his first shipment of seeds to India and Pakistan, there was quite a lot that went wrong. It was held at the Mexican port, and the ships could not leave. They then put it on a 30-truck convoy to go to an LA port. It was held up in Mexican customs. It then finally got on the road. Before it reached Los Angeles, it was stopped due to the Watts riots. Once it reached the port in Los Angeles, the Mexican bank refused to accept the Pakistan check because there was a misspelling of the word. And the minister of Pakistan told my grandfather, "The money is in the bank, but I have bombs dropping on my front lawn. I promise I'll get it to you." And then when it finally reached Pakistan and India, my grandfather found out that the seeds had accidentally been fumigated in Mexico, customs, and they were of no value. He didn't have the permission, but he doubled down and sent another shipload. And because of his perseverance and his passion and determination, a green revolution happened in Asia. And that is what all of you are. You are his passion. You are his tenacity. You are his courage. So thank you. You will bring a green revolution. I thought I'd reach into my grandfather's own words when he received the Nobel Peace Prize, because many of it holds true today. He said the first essential component to social justice is adequate food for all mankind. Food is a moral right for all who are born into this world. If we desire peace, cultivate justice, but at the same time cultivate fields to produce more bread, otherwise there will be no peace. Hunger and strife are aligned. You cannot build peace on empty stomachs. He continued with the fact that there's no miracles in agriculture production. However, the strategy he utilized is what gave Asia their green revolution. It harnessed the high yield potential of new grain seeds and other new technologies. It had sound government policies which assured farmers a fair price for their grain, the availability of necessary inputs, seed, fertilizer, insecticide, weed killers, and machinery, and as farmers access to credit. The success of this strategy depended on the collective efforts of the great scientific research organizations and the experienced and brave political leaders and young farmers who are willing to accept a new system. In your current success here in Africa, if you build upon my grandfather's strategy, but make it African-centric, make it your own, we will see more fertile seeds of a green revolution. Again, it will take science and innovation and political leadership that believe in investment in infrastructure, irrigation, and human and institutional capacity building. Those in agriculture cannot do it alone, but rather it is all our responsibility across all disciplines. Last, let's remember that you cannot be anti-hunger and anti-innovation. They do not go together. We must be permitted to utilize all the science and innovation that has been offered in the fight against hunger. Additionally, we need to remember our next generation, the future hunger fighters. To feed 9 billion by 2050, it will require innovation, creativity, bold ideas, talent across all disciplines. We need these young, brave minds. I have been fortunate to travel with USAID and see their Borlaug Leap fellowships, from charcoal briquette programs here in Kibera to watershed projects at Lake Owassa in Ethiopia. I've seen what this investment can do and how young researchers are changing and leading the future of African agriculture. And we all must continue these types of programs, both here in Africa and internationally, and we need more investment. Upon the presentation of the Nobel Peace Prize, the chairperson of the Nobel Committee observed behind the outstanding results in the sphere of wheat research, of which the dry statistics speak, we sense the presence of a dynamic, indomitable, and refreshingly unconventional scientist. And that was my grandfather. My grandfather knew unconventional partnerships and innovations are exactly what we need to end hunger. And the next generation are likely to provide this to us. In the end of my grandfather's Nobel speech, he made the remarks of, where are the leaders? Where are the leaders who have the necessary scientific competence, the vision, the common sense, the social conscience, the qualities of leadership, and the persistent determination to convert potential benefactions into real benefit for humankind in general and for those that are hungry. There are not enough of them now. Therefore, we must identify and develop them in our educational systems, and we must utilize them in our campaign against hunger. They are our next generation of hunger fighters. And I know he's looking down from heaven on this room, and he sees an army of hunger fighters committing to end hunger and to the Green Revolution in Africa. On his last day, he said his last sentence was actually, "Take it to the farmers." He was talking about an innovative project. Thank you. He was talking about an innovative project out of a university in the United States that was a handheld nitrogen. And it could go out to the fields, and it was low cost, and it could be utilized for the farmers here in Africa. And he said to this young researcher, he said, "Take it to the farmer." So thank you on his behalf, and all that you have done and all that you will do. You take it to the farmer every day. And remember, it's only as good as it possibly can be when we take it to the farmer. So please seize the moment, and thank you.